Namaskar, good evening. You're watching Nation Wants to Know and I'm Swati Joshi. We're just hours away from the moment when the government is set to table the Waqf Amendment Bill in the Parliament tomorrow. Now, the government is calling it a much-needed reform, while the opposition believes that this is an unconstitutional bill. A lot has been happening over the last few hours. Let's break down the details. Let's separate noise from news. Let's tell you what has transpired today just before the bill is to be tabled in the Parliament tomorrow. These are the top developments related to the Waqf issue. Sources are saying government has given 8 hours for Waqf debate to take place tomorrow. Let's take a look at other developments that are taking place. According to sources, Nitish's senior MP Sanjay Jha met Home Minister Amit Shah ahead of the bill being tabled. Whip has been issued to all BJP Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha MPs to be present tomorrow when the bill is tabled and the discussion takes place. Sena UBT says we will decide our stand after Chandrababu Naidu, the ally of the NDA, makes up his mind on where the TDP stands. As far as the TDP is concerned, the TDP says will support the Waqf bill if it addresses our concerns. So there is a condition over there. Development number 6, INDI leaders are meeting to deliberate over their strategy on the Waqf bill. Development number 7, in fact, the Congress huddle, the Congress meeting is going to take place at 8 p.m. just 1 hour from now to discuss the floor strategy. Let's now take a look at the breaking inputs that we are getting. Sansad has in fact accessed the list of speakers of the Bharatiya Janata Party in Lok Sabha tomorrow. This includes the following speakers: Jagdambika Pal, speaker number 1. Speaker number 2, Anurag Thakur. Number 3 is Nishikant Dubey, who would be speaking on the Waqf bill. Number 4 is Abhijit Gangopadhyay. And speaker number 5 is Kamaljeet Sherawat. He's also going to be speaking on the Waqf bill. And then you have Tejasvi Surya, speaker number 6, speaker number 7. And the last speaker from the BJP side is Ravi Shankar Prasad. Batting for the reform, the BJP is trying to rope in their allies as well to back the Waqf Amendment Bill. Let's listen into some reactions.
We had a Business Advisory Committee meeting for Lok Sabha. I had proposed before the committee that tomorrow on 2nd April, we are bringing the Waqf Amendment Bill. And for that, we have to allocate time for discussion.
नहीं, ये तो पहले ही टेबल हो चुका है, जेपीसी से वापस आया है। ये जो मिसलीड कर रहे हैं, तो ये किसी का प्रॉपर्टी हम वापस लेने का बात नहीं किया है, इधर माइनॉरिटी और मेजॉरिटी का। ये सिर्फ सबको न्याय देने के लिए है।
कांग्रेस हो, समाजवादी पार्टी हो, ओवैसी हो, टीएमसी हो या डीएमके हो, विपक्ष के लोग तो केवल अपीजमेंट की पॉलिटिक्स में केवल मुस्लिम्स को वोट बैंक समझते हैं। तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति में ये लोग उस ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड के साथ खड़े हैं। शुरू से वो तय कर चुके हैं कि हमें इस बिल का विरोध करना है।
More breaking inputs coming in. In fact, top sources are telling your channel that the party is studying the bill. We're talking about the TDP here. And the TDP is saying that the final call will be taken after reading the draft bill. And the nod of the High Command is awaited. So we're also being told that 3 amendments proposed by the TDP in JPC have been included in the bill. But the TDP at the moment not revealing its cards, saying that we are going to go through the draft and then take a call on this. And our High Command would in fact tell us what is going to be the stand of the party. So suspense continues as far as TDP's stand is concerned. However, earlier today, many leaders of the opposition even went on to warn the NDA allies not to back the Waqf Amendment Bill because they claim that these parties will then go on to lose the support of the Muslim community.
The opposition parties have walked out in the middle of the BAC meeting in protest because the government is simply bulldozing its agenda and not listening to the views of the opposition party. We have asked for a comprehensive discussion on the Waqf Amendment Act.
पॉलिटिकल पार्टी जो वक्फ के नाम के ऊपर जीतकर वो मुसलमान के वोट से जीत करके आ रही हैं, याद रख लें अच्छी तरह से, इतिहास माफ नहीं करेगा। चाहे वो चंद्रबाबू नायडू साहब हो, चाहे वो जयंत चौधरी साहब हो, चाहे वो नीतीश कुमार जी हो या चिराग पासवान जी हो, उनको इस बात को तय करना पड़ेगा कि मुसलमान कभी माफ नहीं करेगा।
क्योंकि ये हमारे लिए एक इबादत है, ये नमाज की तरह नहीं और इबादत है ये। अगर आप हमारी मस्जिदों को, दरगाहों को उससे अगर आप हमको महरूम कर रहे हैं तो फिर जाहिर है ये तो हमारे लिए बड़ा इमोशनल और बड़ी तकलीफ दे बात रहेगी। तो ये समझ नहीं रहे हैं, ना नीतीश कुमार समझ रहे हैं, ना चंद्रबाबू नायडू समझ रहे हैं। तो ठीक है, इनको जनता समझा देगी। फिर
वक्फ बोर्ड के खिलाफ हैं हम लोग, इसलिए खिलाफ हैं क्योंकि भारतीय जनता पार्टी हर जगह हस्तक्षेप करना चाहती है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी हर जगह अपना कंट्रोल चाहती है।
And before we open up the debate, let's take a look at the question that we are asking. Remember, the Waqf Bill is going to be tabled in the Parliament tomorrow. There'll be a discussion, and ahead of that, the question that we are asking is it time to reform Waqf? Waqf to Waqf reform. You can register your vote. You can have your say at Times Now on social media platform X. We'll reveal the results right after the debate. Let's open up the debate. Let's go across to our guests. We are joined by Krishna Hegde, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena. We have Deepak Reddy, national spokesperson of the TDP. Author Sanjay Jha is joining us on the broadcast, along with Chandrasekhar Jha, spokesperson of the UBT. Good evening to all of you. Let me first come to you, Krishna Hegde. Are there jitters in the NDA camp for the Bharatiya Janata Party? Is there any nervousness because the support of the allies matter more than ever?
Not at all, Swati. The bill will sail through after a discussion of 8 hours, and I will tell you this, that even Nitish Kumarji or Chandrababu Naidu is, both of them are with us. Apart from this, I was just hearing the statements of the, some of the opposition Muslim leaders like Imran Masood and Owaisi, who are trying to mislead the Muslims into believing that they are going to lose their mosques and their, places of religious worship. What the Waqf Amendment Bill wants to do here is to bring about digitalization, speak about proof of paperwork, take away illegal occupancy of land, whatever has happened, bring in transparency, bring in audits, and bring in, benefit to our Muslims. And apart from this, we also want to we at Shiv Sena firmly believe that every inch of the land of our country belongs to the country and not to any particular one individual institution.
All right, Krishna Hegde, please stay on with us. Please stay on with us. We also have Charu Pragya of the Bharatiya Janata Party and Vivek Silas of the Samajwadi Party joining us. Now, you said that our allies are with us. Of course, they are with you. But Deepak Reddy, are you with the NDA, with the BJP on the Waqf Bill? Because so far, what we're given to understand is that the TDP is keeping the cards very close to its chest, not revealing anything. There's still suspense on the issue. You want to go through the draft first and then decide?
Yeah, you just said that, and that's the stand of the party, Swati ji. But before coming to that, I need to, express the current situation. If you see Syed Chishti, the Sufi Council has supported the bill. The church body has supported the bill. The India ecosystem, no matter how much they're trying to instigate people, is actually not working. And attempts to keep disputes between the alliance did not work. And finally, the pathetic situation is they had to pay a few workers and get some children to be part of the dharna, what they staged. And the media was amazing. They have exposed them and they made a big joke of themselves. Now, coming to the actual allegations, what these people have against TDP, I would like to make it absolutely clear that TDP was the party which actually supported the forming of JSC. And TDP has actually suggested 3 amendments which were accepted. So we are protecting the rights of the Muslims the way it is required. But Chandrababu Naidu ji has absolutely made it clear that interests of the nation comes first and then the interests of the state comes second.
But then, Mr. Reddy, how do you respond to the criticism of hypocrisy? That on one hand, there's a massive outreach by your party in your state for the minority community, for the Muslims. But then if you support the Waqf Bill, will it not be seen as anti-Muslim? That's how the opposition is looking at it.
Ma'am, I need just 1 minute uninterrupted. I can lay it down in a way where these doubts are cleared. If you see the minute Chandrababu Naidu ji came to power, he sacked the earlier Waqf board and we came up with a new board. And if you see the latest budget which came out, 5,434 crores has been given for minorities. A minority sub-plan has been put. And if you see our track record, 7,500 mosques were built, 550 shadikhanas were built, Urdu schools were put, and 3 Hajj bhavans were put. and we have given special, soaps or special welfare schemes to the Muslims, like Ramzan Tofa and Dulhan schemes. So we have been champions of minorities and Muslims in Andhra Pradesh. No matter what type of evil games the Indie ecosystem tries to play, the Muslims are with us, and they know Chandrababu Naidu ji is a true champion of Muslims.
All right. So you're saying you are working for the benefit of the Muslim community. I want to bring in Sanjay Jha, because Deepak Reddy says that there's an evil design that the INDI is going by and, spreading this narrative that the bill is anti-Muslim. He also spoke about the Gandhi Nashin of the Ajmer Sharif Dargah when he backed the Waqf reform bill, and what the Congress leader has said. I want to use the exact word that he said, but he was called a broker because he backs the bill.
Swati, good evening. I believe that the Waqf Bill is significant, and we should not reduce this discussion to some cheap rhetoric here and there. I think over the coming weeks and months, you'll realize that the apprehensions that are being expressed, Swati, have a great deal of merit. The way this government has always been, and it's been documented in not just hate speeches, calls for genocide, the lynching murders, the bulldozer, and everything that we have seen over the last 10 years. This is a further manifestation of the intent of this government, along with its allies like the TDPs, Mr. Reddy, etc., who are playing what I believe is brazen divide and rule politics. I'll give you one example. Mr. Reddy's party is, as they say, running with the hare and hunting with the hounds, which I think a political hypocrisy is something that is pretty much commonplace. So I'm not going to say that they're the only ones who do that. But here is the problem. If you heard my friend Krishna speak a little earlier, he talked about, we will seize what he calls as illegal assets. And let me tell you why I think is the real problem here. Because if you look at the Waqf properties, Swati, and go into the numbers, they are approximately around 100,000 acres that we're talking about in prime urban territories of India. And roughly 62% of the Waqf properties are actually Waqf by user. Now, when you say Waqf by user, that means these over a period of time have been coming down since centuries, and there may not be enough documents which currently, whether the Waqf charitable institution is, whether it's a madrasa, whether it is a mosque, whether it is, whatever, a dargah, whatever it may be, the bottom line is that documents may not be there. And that is why there is very genuine fear that this government will try and seize land on the assumption that, well, there is no legal entity or legal document.
Let me take a response on that specific point. There's genuine fear within the Muslim community. Charu Pragya, are the allies on board? Do you have all the numbers required? And is there a fear within the BJP camp? Because opposition says once this bill is passed and all those who are standing with the government supporting the bill will lose the vote bank.
Swati, I think the way Sanjay ji was speaking right now, it is just one step further to that whole narrative of kagaz nahi dikhayenge. So let's move on from there and understand why reforms are necessary. Let's remember a time when even the land on which our parliament is standing today was declared arbitrarily as Waqf land. Let's remember entire villages were written off as Waqf land arbitrarily. There is no record to anything. There is no paperwork, no trail, nothing. See, land is owned by other religions as well. Temples own land, churches own land, and me and Silas ji were discussing this. But these kind of altercations exist within the Waqf board properties. You know why? Because they are not managed in a way which is transparent, in a way which is for the welfare of people, which is exactly why all this was formed. In fact, if you take into account all the land that they hold, you know what is the return on that land? That kind of land, the return is barely 2.7%, which is barely 150 crores a year, where they could be earning 12,000 crores a year. Why is this mismanagement happening? Why is it being allowed? It's being allowed because it allows some people to do their vote bank politics. Now, is the act being done away with? No. Is asking for transparency wrong? No. Haven't organizations like the Kerala Catholic Bishops Council, the Ajmer Sharif Dargah Gandhi Nashin, haven't the Catholic Bishops Conference of India all given their support for this amendment? And when all of them can give their support.
Let me revisit the question, the most important question, because this discussion will take place tomorrow in the parliament as well. 8 hours, according to sources, allocated for the discussion on Waqf. Are the allies on board? You're talking about support outside the parliament.
Absolutely they are. See, I'll tell you, BJP is being completely transparent and well-meaning. We have established that time and time again. Because it went to the JPC, the allies are on board. We are telling you point by point issues which need to be addressed. And why must the onus never lie on the Waqf board to prove whose property it is? Because then you will go on and on a trail like you have been.
Okay, let me bring in Chandrasekhar Jha of the UBT. Are you on a sticky wicket? Why isn't your party taking a clear stand on this issue?
See, we are not on a sticky wicket. What we say and what we particularly believe that this law will open a Pandora box. And with regard to the lands which belong to the Waqf board or the trust, it is completely ruled by the Muslim Personal Law Board, the Shariat Act. And in Shariat Act, the Waqf is by the use. And if you want to amend the Waqf by way of reformation, that reformation should contribute to the religion.
So
the religion which is particularly
are you saying you're opposed to
Personal Law Board.
I just want to understand first, what is your stand? Just quickly.
We are opposed to.
Are you opposing the Waqf Bill?
Let me say, see, we are not at this moment on any decision that we are opposing or we are with the bill.
No, but if you are to believe that this is not a reform and that this is against a particular community, why is your party hesitating in taking a clear stand? Why is Mr. Aditya Thackeray saying, let the TDP first make it stand clear and then we'll say where we stand?
Let me complete, because it is violating Article 26 of the Constitution of India, because it is a religious act. And in Waqf, it is completely a religious act, like the Hindu Endowment and Religious Act. So if you decide to take up the properties that the government wants to take away, the properties of the religious people or the religious places, that has to be decided in the
Now,
Waqf
one thing is clear
Act
that you have perhaps studied this in detail.
It's not religious. Can I please
also one second.
Multiple times the courts have said that.
No, Mr. Jha, also one thing is very clear that you and others have very clearly gone through perhaps every detail, but unwilling to take a stand. But Charu Pragya wants to come in.
No, factually he's incorrect. Let me just remind you that these are not religious bodies. They are statutory bodies. Time and time courts of India have ruled that. And you are talking about representation and equality. What about representation to other segments in the Muslim community itself? What about women? What about Bora Muslims? What about
Vivek ji can respond to that. Vivek ji can respond to that. Since Samajwadi Party has taken a very clear stand, what about those within the community who are demanding reform?
Swati ji, I would just like to say that, as you mentioned, whether the allies are on board or not, we'll come to know tomorrow. I was just listening to Mr. Chandrababu Naidu's statement. He said that we can only take a decision after we read what is there in the bill. And one of the TDP spokesperson was talking very high about Chandrababu Naidu and the coalition with the Bharatiya Janata Party. But the same Chandrababu Naidu was the man who called Mr. Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, a hardcore terrorist. So you never know what's going to happen in in politics tomorrow. It depends on the TDP. It depends on
Okay, no. Mr. Reddy does not seem to agree with you. Also, according to sources and the statement that they have given, if their concerns have been addressed, then they'd back the bill. Mr. Reddy, do respond to what Vivek Sailor said.
Swati, as I told you earlier, Chandrababu Naidu ji is a forward-thinking leader, and he looks at the larger interests of the nation. One thing I want to make it absolutely clear is the India ecosystem. If you take the Congress party, starting from Mallikarjuna Kharge, and each of the southern states, if you take the Congress leaders, at some point or the other in the past, you can see reported in the media also, they have been saying that Waqf properties are being stolen. They are being given out at dirt cheap. Today they are pretending and playing this. I would like to give one example of Andhra Pradesh. There are totally 65,783 acres in Andhra Pradesh under Waqf board. Out of that, 31,594, almost 50% have been illegally occupied. So Chandrababu Naidu ji, couple of days ago, he's made it absolutely clear that he would safeguard the interests of the Waqf land. So the loopholes which these people are using to actually take advantage of the Muslim community is going to be removed, and probably a better, more transparent system is going to come.
Opposition taking advantage of the Muslim community. Sanjay Jha, then Mr. Krishna Hegde.
Swati, let me give you one example here. The BJP spokesperson talked about the return on investment, because these guys can't think anything beyond money, of 2.x percentage on the Waqf properties, which is like 9,54,000 acres. Just a minute, I didn't interrupt you. Let me finish, ma'am. Here is the answer. The Waqf properties are all designated for social charitable purposes. A dargah, a kabristan, a school, a madrasa, they're not meant to be a Reliance stock or an Adani stock. And this party doesn't have the basic elementary understanding that when you own a property which has been given for a religious, charitable or a social purpose, you're not calculating an ROI. It just exposes their political motivations out in the open.
No, you're just trying to twist my words. Let's remember, if you're talking about the welfare of the people, welfare of the people happens through education, through healthcare, through economic upliftment by making hospitals, schools, orphanages. How do you make all of that? By actually just mismanaging every bit of property that could be used for national good. Is that how you wish to operate? I am sorry. The government of this land today does not wish to operate like that, and nor do other religious institutions. You're well aware of that.
Statutory body.
Okay, Krishna,
Muslims themselves are all for reforms here.
Krishna, I know you want to come in, but I want to take a very quick rebuttal from Sanjay Jha. There have been statements made on irregularities and mismanagement by most of the political parties when it comes to Waqf. Even the Sachar committee suggested that there should be reforms. Sanjay Jha.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, Swati, reforms is absolutely a good thing. I don't think anybody's got an opposition to a constructive change. What you're witnessing here is a bulldozing, a draconian attempt to try and actually give the fear to the Muslim community that your assets that you have held over centuries can now be actually appropriated by a government, by empowering the district collector, by changing the constitution of the statutory board, and including non-Muslims into the entire representation. This is a genuine issue, Swati.
Okay.
This is not
Both
politics.
sides are using the argument of fear-mongering by the other side. Krishna Hegde, please come in.
No, I don't understand if bringing transparency and getting an audit down the line is troubling someone who is trying to usurp or take control of ASI monuments and old age Hindu temples. I think something has to be streamlined here, and the government is doing it, and hats off to the government for doing this. Secondly, the Uddhav Thackeray party seems to have lost its ideology. Now they are backing, for Muslim votes and Muslim appeasement. They seem to be backing, the Indi Gadbandhan yet again. The same people who are against Sanatan, against Hinduism, against Ram Mandir, and have called all kinds of names, whether it's cold, malaria, leprosy, or dengue. And I think Balasaheb Thackeray ji, who is the founder of our party, would just be wondering what Uddhav Thackeray party is doing right now.
The control of government should be removed from the
Chandrasekhar Jha wants to
Hindu
respond. Then Vivek
temple. Also take.
Go ahead.
See, if they talk about Hindutva or Hindus vote bank, they should take away with the Hindu Endowments Act. The government has total control on the temples.
Now.
The public trust is under the control. Again, you take over the control. You remove the control of the government.
Yes.
Why you don't take actions against that? If you want to take it away, you take it away. But you will not take it away. You want to rule the other religions.
Where does your party stand? That question has not been answered till now. Where does your party stand?
See, our stand is very basic. We have taken the stand. Let Mr. Chandrababu Naidu decide.
That's very interesting. So you're hiding behind Chandrababu Naidu.
Process or an ideology or a mind of your own.
Naidu. What if he supports? Then you will also support?
No. You don't talk about ideology with us.
Oh, no. I'm asking a separate question.
I am
if PDP
actually,
supports, then you'll also support? Please respond.
See, if Mr. Chandrababu Naidu is in favor, then we'll win in favor.
Oh, yes. That's interesting. So you are going by their understanding. You don't have a stand of yours? No understanding of what this bill is actually going to do? Charu Pragya.
Yeah, it just goes on to show what I just said, Swati. They have no ideology. They have completely flipped. They have betrayed the people of Maharashtra, myself included. We are very hurt. We'll continue to be hurt. But stop dividing this country on religious lines. This is not about Hindu-Muslim. This is not just about...
All right. Charu Pragya and gentlemen, we are completely out of time. I think the most important question that we've asked, and it's time to reveal the results of that question, Waqf to reform Waqf. And also it will be important to see if the bill is passed tomorrow. We'll have to monitor the discussions that take place. But on your screens are results for the question we asked. Waqf to reform Waqf. 89.1% people say yes, this is time to reform Waqf. Whereas 10.9% people say no. With that, we are wrapping up this edition of Nation Wants to Know. A lot more lined up on the other side.